folks. Why Would You Ask That is a podcast that answers some of the weirdest questions. A lot of those are inappropriate for some listeners. If you're squeamish, easily disturbed, or just having a bad day, this may not be for you. But if you've got to know the answers like we do, stay tuned.
Why Would You Ask That? Presented by me, M, they, them, and
Karen, she, her.
And Remy, he, him.
And today our question is, what do ghosts smell like? What do they smell like? Not like the essence of like that they leave behind, but what does the actual ghost, not flesh body, smell like? And Remy has dug through the annals of the internet in order to find out, and he was this close to finding a ghost and sniffing that ethereal body, but it would be rude. So Remy, where did your studies take you?
I went all over the internet. I read through samples of old books and photography books and metaphysical magazines and haunted house websites and interviews and firsthand accounts and on and on. I've spent all day doing this.
And then some.
And some. I spent a while doing this, and yeah, I was this close to digging out my witchcraft books and just summoning one.
Oh, man.
And asking it what it smelled like.
Oh, can we do that?
But I couldn't find them. Couldn't find them.
Which, I feel like I should be the one with the most experience as to what a ghost smells like, seeing as I used to live in a haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, I didn't really smell the actual ethereal ghost itself. It's just, all the other shit.
You saw it.
Well, what did you smell?
Felt it.
Usually I would smell the smell of cologne or like aftershave, even deodorant. I like to think it's a masculine smell that common back then.
Axe body spray.
Not Axe body spray. I swear to fucking God. If I was haunted by a ghost who smells like Axe, I would end them all over again. Bro, don't come at me with your afterlife full of Axe. Axe still doesn't smell very good. I'm sorry, but it's a fact. It's just too much. Nah, it was just like some certain smell. Like I don't really know what the smell was supposed to be necessarily, but like it was something that was omnipresent through my childhood and teenagerdom, and I even got bits of it when I was a young adult just moving into Canada, but I haven't smelled it in a long time.
Have you ever smelled a ghost, Karen?
No.
But you've smelled a psychic, right? That's like the same thing.
No. And, well, it depends on the psychic. Because I've smelled very different types of psychics.
Go on.
Oh, well, there's the one of the psychics that actually had the most accurate reading.
So this one should be closest to ghost.
Yes. She smelled of cigarettes and a little bit of throw up.
No.
She was pregnant.
Oh.
Yeah. No joke. She like lit up while she was doing the reading.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's a psychic thing.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know her life.
I don't know. Yeah, she was also operating out of her house, I think, so that was kind of iffy. But then again, I had another psychic that I went to that she also operated out of her home, but she she was what's the word? Rich. Like she had all the crystals and the bowls the really fancy tarot cards. She had she had it all. She smelled like really fancy like Chanel perfume. Yeah, she was older. She had a lot of jewelry, really flowy clothes, and she was going blind. She was really nice.
She sounds like a real psychic. Loads of cash.
With loads of cash. Yeah, she did it she would do telephone readings. So,
Sounds legit. But you have the one who's more accurate, who smells like cigarettes and bomb. And then you got like Richie Rich.
well, she came at me with like very ethereal, like kind of metaphysical ideas, and like telling me about that I need to blah 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 blah, all this all the shit that psychics say. Whereas the other girl was like, I see a body of water and something really important is going to happen there, something really big, life changing.
And then something did happen.
Yeah, Josh proposed to me.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. So I was like, well, shit's real, I guess. But yeah, no, I haven't smelled a ghost. But from what I understand about people who have smelled ghosts is that uh they smell like what they were in life. Like the most common one is cigarettes.
It's always fucking cigarettes. Like, I swear to God, every heavy smoker is a ghost now. Just the world is filled with cigarette fucking smoke.
Yeah, tobacco is so bad it follows you to heaven or wherever the fuck you go. It follows you to purgatory.
Well, I mean, if you're in heaven, you're not gonna be here haunting my dumb ass.
You're right. You're right.
But there's also, grandma's perfume. I've read cookies. I've read the awful smell of death for. That's a neat one.
My favorite is musk. They're like, I just smelled a man. And I was like, ooh.
Ooh, hunt me any day, broski. How about you, Remy? Have you ever smelled a ghost?
No, I've never smelled a ghost. When I think about ghosts, I'm usually thinking about full body apparitions, usually Victorian. All the ghosts are Victorian. That's the clothes they get stuck in when they die.
I don't know why.
Oh.
It's like you get changed into Victorian clothes. Like when you
Yes.
die, it's actually a costume store in the sky, and they let you pick.
Everybody likes steampunk.
I mean, I think that's what I would choose. I would choose some kind of fucked up pirate.
I think about cold spots and I think about people getting like touched, and then I don't ever think about smells, and I've never smelled one. But if I do like sit down and consciously think, like, okay, when I think about like the movies or the books or whatever that mention the smells, what smells do I know that are supposed to be associated with ghosts? I'm thinking smoke and cologne and flowers and um, dead things and rotting corpses and sulfur, meat, stuff like that. Yeah, all of those things. And all of those things are the things that were the most common things that people mentioned, with smoke being right at the top of the list. So,
Yeah. I feel like smoke is such a pervasive smell though. So like I just I never trust myself when I smell smoke and like nobody around me is smoking. Like it's like weed. It just like weed smoke, tobacco smoke, it sticks no matter what. So like even if you do everything you can to clean the place out, it's like still there.
It's true. Uh smoke just kind of clings to everything, and I guess in death as much as it does. Like, as a kid, I just smelled like cigarette smoke because my mother was a smoker. She was a And you're like, bro,
Oof.
you like somehow maybe like equate cigarette smoke with the good smell that I don't anymore. Where's the ghost that should be smoking near me? Bitch, please come here. I need a hit. Bro, help me out.
Wow. I read a pretty long article while I was trying to compile this research from 2020 on a website called Exemplar, and it deals exclusively with paranormal stuff. There's a common theme in the smells that people do, right? So, the stuff about tobacco and pipe smoke and cigars, which are the three types of smoke that people are smelling, right? On ghost tours, that's always one that gets brought up. And I don't know if it's like people bring it up on the ghost tours, the guides do, and then people are like, oh, yeah, I smell it because it's a pervasive smell and everybody has smelled cigarette smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was reading these things and I was like, reading all these because this one article had like a bunch of different things where he had talked to people in all these different places on all these tours and was like, and then three women at this tour said that they smelled cigarette smoke. And I was like, okay, but did they smell it because the tour guide said that they should smell it? And so they were like, yeah, I do smell cigarette smoke. Did one of the guys who work there light up before they came in there?
Mm-hmm.
Is one of the other people who are on the tour smoke? And so that's why they smell it. There's any number of reasons they could be smelling it in these places.
It's so like it's so hard to just say it's a ghost smelling like smoke. Like you can't prove that shit.
No. The only compelling one for that I read was this dude who wrote the article was like, when you talk to the people on the Gettysburg tours, ghost smells are number 2 ranked on their list of ways that people experience ghosts at the Gettysburg battlefields. Actually, sight is apparently the lowest on their ranking of the ways people experience ghosts on their ghost tours.
Mm-hmm.
So smell is number 2 on their list, with the smells of pipe smoke being highest on their list because lots of soldiers smoked. And the guy was like, well, I was just on a hike at Gettysburg and I was by myself on the trail and I smelled smoke and there was nobody with me. And then I went home and I was looking into it and a lot of people had smelled pipe smoke and I had no idea. So then I started interviewing people and I was like, this is literally the only one where there's nobody around anybody when you smelled this.
I always hate it when like people like I like anybody could say that.
Yep.
You know? Like we have to trust people, but also like I don't trust people. So I'm like
Bro, I don't even trust myself.
It's real hard to trust people because I can't prove that you were there on the trail that day and just smelled it and then went home and then did your research and then it turns out that that happened. It's a lot of little coincidences. I can't prove that that's how it happened. But that's what he says, so I just have to take his word for it. But it's the only one, and in this whole long article.
damn, what's the number one way that people experience ghosts in Gettysburg?
Is it touch?
The first way that people experience ghosts at the Gettysburg battlefield tours is by sound.
Interesting.
It says that on their battlefield tours, people may hear unexplained footsteps, horses galloping in the distance, the rattling of a carriage in transit, or possibly gunshots. And this is from the Gettysburg Battlefield Tours website.
Hmm.
This means when there are no reenactments around.
Yeah, like the ghost tours are usually in the evening and they don't do reenactments in the evening unless it's a special occasion, in which case they won't do the ghost tours that night.
Yep.
Huh.
And then it's smell, and it says that for smells, the most commonly reported are like the smoke, and then perfume and gunpowder are also ranked pretty high up.
Gunpowder. I mean, that one is not a lot of people like me. I don't necessarily. I guess it smells like fireworks, huh?
Yeah.
I love the smell of fireworks. Sign
Yeah.
me up. I'll get a fireworks ghost.
And then touch, and then sight.
Interesting. People hear ghosts before they smell them.
I mean, generally that's true for a lot of things. Just gonna say.
You hear it before you smell it?
Yeah, generally.
Yeah. I can't argue that.
I mean, do you smell the dog before you hear it bark?
Well, this isn't really fair. I've got a great nose. My nose is huge. I can smell things from miles.
That is a
That's not true.
long fucking nose.
I know.
You got like a whole ass snout.
Yeah.
You're like, I was gonna make a joke there, but I couldn't think of one fast enough. I apologize. Let's pretend I said something brilliant and move on.
Okay, so other than the smell of smoke and all the other things, there's like that odor of sulfur or rotten meat that comes up over and over again when people are talking about ghosts, and then they're only talking about evil spirits and demons. And the problem that I have with that is that I can get where like the rotting meat is coming from because that's just the smell that a dead body would have, but that's problematic because a ghost doesn't have a body, so why would it smell like a dead body? And that's me, but
Maybe you gotta take your fucking ghost shower, bro. You gotta wash off like the actual body stink that you get when you climb out of your dead body finally. Cause all souls are heavy with sin, man. It takes some time to get out of that fucking coffin.
I don't know. I'm leaning towards that rotting meat is definitely more evil than just regular ghost.
Why?
Because
I do want to know why you would associate the rotting meat smell specifically with bad spirits. Because rotting meat is just the way that a body smells when it dies and isn't inherently bad.
because if you were a good person, then no bad things follow you.
One of the firsthand accounts that I read said that there has been some reports on, I think it might have been Gettysburg, um, one of these battlefields. The account was from a person who repeatedly sees on this battlefield the apparition of a soldier who smells so freaking bad
Oh no.
as they walk through that area, and he appears full body apparition in like the soldier's uniform, little cap, Civil War soldier, and he's dirty. His uniform is like a little tattered, and he tramps through the space, and then he disappears, and he smells like garbage when he walks through there. Literal garbage, it specifies. And you would think that's an evil spirit because the bad spirits smell bad and the good spirits don't smell bad, but he's not. It's just he smells bad because soldiers didn't have proper hygienic stuff to keep themselves bathed. So it would literally be that ghost just smells bad because that would be the smell that is associated with his life
And his death.
Boom, baby!
What?
and his death.
Bro just didn't take a shower, Karen.
It was in that same long article that I was reading. So
This is a good fucking article. See, what did I tell you, Karen? What did I tell you? Bro didn't take a shower.
let me scroll down to the picture of the little Civil War boy.
Oh, it's a boy? Like a kid?
Well, I mean, they only lived to be like 12 years old back then, Karen.
You're right.
Duh.
I mean, he looks like he's 14 in this little picture.
Oh my god.
He probably was 14.
Martinsburg, West Virginia, the second largest town in the Shenandoah Valley. During the Civil War, it was a strategic location. It was apparently held 37 times between the two armies.
Hmm.
Oh.
There is a park in Martinsburg, which was the site of a really bloody battle. And there's a lot of reports from people visiting the park and catching it says, truly awful smell.
Oof.
Upon looking around, the source is always identified as a teenaged boy. Leaning against a nearby tree, the youth stands 5 feet tall, wears tattered brown pants, a dirty red checked shirt, suspenders, no shoes, has filthy feet, a floppy weird cap with a small brim. So he wasn't in his uniform. The picture was in the uniform. That's what I was remembering. The smell he gives off is horrible and has been described as rotten garbage, horse sweat, or rancid meat. When people have called to him, he gives no response and simply disappears before their eyes. And then it talks about soldiers, and the little cap that he was wearing would be called kepis, I think, which is a soldier's cap, and how soldiers didn't have soap for bathing and they would have smelled just horribly and terrible. And that the apparition just demonstrates the horrible conditions that soldiers were living in during the time, and that's why he smells so bad.
I hate to say it though, but bro's a teenager, and teenagers just smell like that.
Yeah. That was my immediate thought. I was like, oh, he was 14? Pfft, that explains it. He didn't have his Axe body spray on him.
Oh god, he would have smelled even worse. You know, I think I prefer the garbage.
Just goes in his tent, hot boxes himself with the axe.
Oh god. Well, thank you. I'll take the pungent man musk any day.
Oh, to each
You're
their
right.
own.
I haven't smelled a man in many, many, many moons. Many, 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 many moons. Also, it's just rude to get that close. I'm not about to be like, that's man musk. Don't shower, baby.
Wow.
Is she creepy?
You nasty.
I'm the gross one here. That's my job.
Yep.
It says it on my business card, the gross one.
Right here on the tin.
So yeah, I was just interested in the idea that bad smells would just equal bad ghost, because I guess not always. Although in all of the accounts but that one, it always does seem like it's supposed to.
Yeah, like when because I listen to hella ghost stories and read hella ghost stories. Like when I say hella, I mean I consume like 6 to 8 hours a day of ghost stories and ghost accounts, just listening to this shit. And then I go home and then I read more of them. But like a lot of times it's just like there's the comforting good smell, and then there's the evil smell, which is just,
Putrid.
stink. Everybody's like, bad ghosts smell bad.
But the other one is sulfur, and I was legitimately going to say that I cannot understand why ghosts are supposed to smell like sulfur, because that really does seem like it legitimately does just play off of the idea of a Christian hell being where
Mm-hmm.
those ghosts are supposed to come from, because other afterlives don't smell like sulfur.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the smell of ghosts is influenced by somebody's personal religious beliefs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so.
Like, do you think that perhaps like they make the smell and then they just smell it?
I think it depends on, yeah, because to me, okay, we're going to get into it, y'all. To me, whatever you believe happens after you die is what happens. Like, if you believe in, like, judgment and hellfire and all that, like, you're held accountable to those rules because that's your belief system. I mean, this is really flawed logic, but honestly, I don't give a fuck anymore. So that's just how I feel. So if someone dies and they think they're going to hell because they were a shitty person, I wouldn't be surprised if they haunted a place and ended up smelling like sulfur.
What if you think you're going to heaven, but you're just like a really awful person?
Then you smell like sulfur. You're cursed to haunt people and you smell like sulfur.
What if I believed that you all go to clears when you die?
Listen, I didn't say it was a perfect thought process.
When I die, I'm going to be reincarnated as something that smells good. Couldn't think of a thing quick enough.
Cat.
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 For some reason, brain is going, say bug.
Mm-mm.
Bug smell.
Well, the pagans believe this way anyway. You know, we all have our own sort of thing that we're doing and believing, and we just sort of try to leave each other alone. And all the different pagan belief systems have their own afterlives that are doing its own thing, that would have its own smell associated with it if we were trying to quantify it. So, I don't know. I'm pretty with you. So, um, the belief that a ghost would smell like sulfur because it's an evil spirit from hell is a very Christian centric belief. So my ghosts wouldn't smell like that if they were coming up out of Hades.
What if it's just like a mad fart?
Oh, okay, hold on. I have another one from that article. It said, "Oh, you know, when my dad died, he died in his vacation cabin, but my dad, shall we say, liked to fart a lot." And it has a very distinct smell, and for a long time after he died, it would come and go, that smell.
Oh my god.
I think my dad got trapped in that cabin and just that was his way of letting us know he was still there.
Oh my god.
Hey, Dad. Speaking of, I was listening to a ghost story recently where um the two people were in a room and they heard a fart and they looked up and one of them was like, "Did you just fart?" And it's like, "No, I didn't." And it's like they just kind of looked at each other and they're like, "The fart was on the other side of the room." And then I can't remember if it was a call or a text or some shit, but it was in fucking Spanish. And they
What?
said, "Did you just hear a fart?" A fucking ghost contacted them
Now,
to say that. They fucking used their ghost phone. Did you hear that fart?
wow.
Oh, oh, it's so
Oh man.
fucking funny. Okay, so far we have ghosts really just smell like a whole lot of everything.
Yeah, whole lot of everything. But while we're here on sulfur and rotting meat smells, I did learn about something really cool that's been going on in Minnesota.
What?
That has to do with sulfur and rotting meat?
Yeah,
Is it the guy that eats rotten meat?
no,
Mm-mm.
Oh,
it's about
okay.
smells.
Okay.
Okay, so since 2006 and up until COVID happened and made them shut down, there was a place in the area of Minneapolis, Minnesota called the Haunted Basement. And this is relevant because one of the people working on the project's name's Mike. He specializes in smells. His job involves, not for the haunted basement, but in general, his job as a chemical engineer involves odor testing, kitty litter, and training environmental protection officers in the use of something that's like a nose mounted, megaphone shaped field olfactometer, it's called, which his dad invented and it measures smells. So every October, he works with the haunted basement to make a landscape of smells to complete the horror atmosphere of their absolutely ginormous haunted basement.
Oh my
Which,
god.
for one, I've literally never visited a haunted house that included smells, so I was intrigued.
Wow.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, so he said that he just read about it and contacted them and said, "I'm a chemical engineer and I would love to help you with this."
Wow.
That's a guy who loves horror.
Takes me back to 4D theaters.
Oh man, those were fun and horrifying in every way because I've experienced it once and then never again because I went when I was a small child and I was very young and there was an escaped alien and I cried and I slipped out of the restraint that they put on us and I hid under the seats
Aww.
because it was 4D. The fucking alien sprayed spit on. There was spit and there was blood and there was like breathing and smells, and
Oh God.
they had us in complete darkness, and ooh wee! It's still one of the coolest experiences I've ever had.
So the haunted basement, consists of a series of rooms, which will have different like scenes created by each by a different emerging artist. The website says that it started in an art gallery, well, underneath an art gallery, when one of the volunteers decided to explore the basement beneath this gallery. The building was giant, and they went down there and then they came back out with this idea. They wanted to send patrons into the basement because it was apparently like a big labyrinth under there. It's like 10,000 square foot building. So it was like a big labyrinth type basement. And they said, why don't we send people down there with nothing but a flashlight and a rope to guide them through it?
I want to go. Let's go to Minnesota.
So they did that, and it was a huge hit, and the tickets sold out. And so then they decided to build an actual haunted house down there. And so they built an actual haunted house. It's adults only. You have to dress in closed-toed shoes and a protective face mask. You have to sign a waiver. You have to have a safe word just in case. Visitors have to come in groups, but it says you will often be separated as you move through the 12,000 square foot space. The
Oh my
website
God.
says expect strong smells, physical contact, and projectile liquids. You
Oh
may
no.
get very messy, you may have to crawl, and you may find yourself in a confined space with something horrible. And the website that led me to the Haunted Basements website says that in 2013, visitors were shoved into a coffin.
You know what? There was a whole ass thing about this. Oh no, wait! It was a different thing, but it was similar to this, where haunted houses got kind of like really into being very, very, very immersive, and then trauma would happen, like intense trauma.
Yeah, so this one lasts for 20 minutes, and then it's over. But the website said that a lot of people don't even go the full 20 minutes and they use their safe word and tap out. But people who do make it all the way through, every year they have several people throw up, and the smells make it worse. Mike, being the chemical engineer, he said that the first year that he was there, what he helped them do was make the place smell like death. So to do that, he provided them with putrescine and cadaverine, which are two naturally occurring chemicals that are responsible for a decomposing corpse smelling the way that it smells.
I couldn't tell from the names.
Yeah, he just bought them. He just bought them from wherever it is he buys chemicals. Apparently, you can do that. So I was super into this. And in the article, it gives like a list of other things that he has helped their place smell like. Also, if you're interested.
I'm looking up how to buy putrescine. Oh wow, you just buy it.
So he's helped them smell like a persistent low level gasoline smell, which is not done with gasoline, obviously, because that's dangerous. But he had to build a whole contraption he called an aeration bubbler, which would push a steady stream of air through a scented liquid that smelled like gasoline so that it would dispense the smell because apparently the smell goes away too fast. He's made it smell like cat urine. They had a scene in a nursery once, and he made it smell like baby powder so that all the scary stuff was worse because you had that fuzzy baby feeling when you were going in.
Mm.
Yeah, he said one year he made it smell like Thanksgiving, like turkey and mashed potatoes and stuff, so that when people walked up to the food on the table and saw like guts and other viscera, it made it horrible and awful. And quote, "I'm sure we ruined somebody's Thanksgiving that year," he said.
Yeah.
I want to do this. I want to get fucked up.
Yeah, I would
Mm.
love to do that. They closed when COVID happened, and according to what I was looking at on their website, they are having trouble with their finances because of having to be closed for a solid 2.5 years. So they're currently closed permanently until they can get more money to open back up. But you can go to Patreon if you go to their website, which I think is just thehauntedbasement.com, and you can go to Patreon and you can like support them because they have a link. And eventually they'll get enough money to reopen, probably.
Wait. Can we just do a shout out? What's their Patreon?
Oh, let me go look. Oh, it's hauntedbasement.org. Let me click join our Patreon. You must be 18 plus to view this content.
Makes sense.
Their Patreon is called Catacomb Collective. Their membership levels start at $6.66 a month.
It's called Bonafactor.
Cute.
They have 42 patrons making $566 a month right now. So I don't know. You guys need to go support these people. they're
Yeah.
currently now doing more than just haunted houses in October, according to their website. Like they put on a whole play down there as an immersive theater experience. You know, instead of watching it on a stage, you'd be wandering through the play. Yeah, I read about they Yes, they did this in New York with Alice in Wonderland in like a warehouse where every room was a different scene from not Alice in Wonderland. Yes, Alice in Wonderland, where every scene was a different part of the book and you would go room to room and experience a scene from the book. And so they did this with another thing in their basement where you just were wandering through the play. So it's pretty cool. Like it's pretty cool what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they do, I guess, workshops and things too now. It says,
Huh.
yeah, they do a lot more stuff. Yeah, they did Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment in 2014.
Highbrow.
And now they're not in a basement anymore. Now they are in an old mall. So they're even bigger now.
Bro, I need to go. Bro, let's go.
To Minnesota we go.
I'm packing right now.
If you support if you support our podcast, we can take a road trip to Minnesota. So I found those people and I was super into it and wanted to share about
Hell yeah. Thank you.
I'm still packing.
it.
Okay.
And so, diverting back to our actual topic, I couldn't really find anything definitive out about what people think that ghosts themselves, like the actual ghostly body, smells like. Ghosts are just incorporeal images, you know, like a hologram. Holograms don't smell like much of anything. Um, the closest that I could find was what people think that ectoplasm smells like, and there is research about what ectoplasm smells like
What?
from, you know, the 1800s when the word ectoplasm was coined.
As because it's fake.
So back when people were studying ectoplasm, they decided that it had a smell, and so that's where I have decided to look. And yeah, it's fake. It's totally fake. Like this, in this instance, ectoplasm is fake. Ectoplasm itself is a real thing, but not as far as being concerned with ghosts. But ectoplasm is a thing in the science community. Did you know?
Oh. What is it?
Ectoplasm is like the outer part of the amoeba that makes it move.
Oh.
It's what scientists call the gooey outside part of the amoeba, and it like shoots its little gooey outside part, its little pseudopod outside, and it drags itself along with it.
Cute.
Yeah. So scientists call that ectoplasm.
Well, now we know.
Slimer is real.
Probably they just call it that to be silly, but I don't know. Because scientists have a sense of humor. But
Oh, they do.
ectoplasm in the spiritualist medium, spewing it out of their every orifice sense is 100% fake and has always been fake. And every test that has ever been done about it has always proven that it's fake. But back when people were thinking that it was real, they
Mhm.
were writing about it as though it were real and said that it has a smell, and that's the closest that we've come. And I don't know if everybody is aware that would be listening to this what ectoplasm is or what the actual definition is. So, it's the thick, sticky stuff that oozes out of a medium. It's described as looking basically like semen
Hmm.
in all of the things I read. And it can take the shape of a hand or a face of a ghost. And then the ghost just like leave it behind or it dissipates in the light. It's ghost leavings, and then it disappears when the light hits it, which is why seances are always supposed to be done in the dark, because if it's in the light, then the ectoplasm won't come.
See, I always thought that ectoplasm was neon green.
Some of the things
He's a
that I was
phantom.
reading.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. Denny Phantom.
Bro, Karen, didn't you tell me that the hell that sometimes they had pictures in them?
What? The ectoplasm?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They would use all sorts of things, I think. So they would use like sometimes they'd even use needles, but muslin was the main ingredient. Muslin or some type of like very cheesecloth was like the big thing. And then they would take pictures of various people. Like I think one person used Abraham Lincoln. Was it Abraham Lincoln? Who was it?
One person that I read said that they used the picture of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yes.
That's the bastard.
Yes, they used Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, which was funny and ironic. And yeah, so they put his picture in the cheesecloth and they shoved it up somewhere, and then you know, regurgitated it and showed it to everybody, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's me!" Just kidding.
Relatable.
Yeah.
So back then, they had like a whole society of people dedicated to researching seances and psychics and ectoplasm. Like
Mhm.
super famous people.
Yes.
Like the guy who coined the word for ectoplasm won the Nobel Prize for his work on, let's see, asphyxiation or something like that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And like Michael Faraday, another really famous one, he also studied ectoplasm. Crazy. The Society for Psychical Research. Yeah, these people.
Hmm.
And half of them thought it was real. Like one of the psychical, they're called, yeah, psychical researchers defined ectoplasm as being, because he thought it was a real thing, variable in appearance, being vaporous, sometimes a plastic paste, sometimes a bundle of fine threads, or a membrane with swellings or fringes or fine fabric like tissue. I don't know how you could describe it that way and not think it's fake.
Yeah. Like sit there and look at it and you're like, that's a cheesecloth.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
god,
because
that's Nana's hanky. Why would you do this to Nana's hanky?
That's all I had.
the men didn't go into the kitchen. Just they don't know what cheesecloth is back then.
Damn, you're damn right.
Arthur Conan Doyle, he was super into mysticism and stuff. He described ectoplasm as a viscous, gelatinous substance which appeared to differ from every known form of matter in that it could solidify and be used for material purposes. He also described ectoplasm as writhing like snakes in his hand.
Oh.
I'm very concerned for whoever produced that one. Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they had worms. Oh. Oh no.
Put worms up their nose.
Fuck me, gross.
Yep.
Don't fuck me. Go away.
Don't touch me. Everyone run away.
You've got worms.
And it's just, yeah, muslin, paper, cloth with egg whites to make it gooey, if you wanted gooey, I read, which is really gross. That's a good way to give yourself salmonella.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd regurgitate it, which is gross.
Just stick some fucking nasty shit inside of your body. Go ahead, do it.
Or, or they would, and I think I heard maybe you say this on your other podcast, shove it up their nose and pull it back out,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
which is terrible.
You can fit a lot in your sinuses.
Yeah. They would. Yeah. Uh, the sinuses were a favored place. The mouth and throat, obviously.
We really just use our bodies like glorified backpacks.
Bag of holding.
Yeah, I think some people did their ears. I don't think that one was as common, but
Every
and
hole
then
is just a pocket.
Rule 34, they probably had like sex mediums who like pulled it out of their other orifices.
It definitely had that.
Yeah, I did read that the vagina was used, and also one guy was named specifically as having kept it up his rectum.
I think I did read that somewhere.
You did, you did. I remember just being completely aghast about this. They be just sliding this nasty shit up in their puss, or in their butt, or in, I don't know, their fucking other holes. I'm like, I'm listing things off like there's another hole that's going to be opening up, and I really don't want to say urethra because you can't fit shit in there. Please.
Oh no, no, no. No, 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 no. Why would you even say it? Why would you
I
even
mean,
say
I know you
the
can,
word? What?
but you can't fit ectoplasm in there to pull out later.
Oh, I don't
It's
know the
just a
things that
bad
people
time.
can fit in there.
Yeah.
Please
Why?
don't.
Mm-mm.
I think we've
Mm-mm.
gone too far as it is.
Um,
Okay.
on about 5 different lists, I read all of those holes, and then and then it would say, or the nipples, and I thought,
Huh?
how do
What?
you even do that one?
What?
Yeah,
How? Bro!
as as we were just listing these, I was trying to speculate how that one would work, and all I can figure is that it's really dark and that they probably just had it shoved down into, like, their stay or something, and we're just, like, pulling it out of the top, of their medieval bra.
I really fucking hope so, cause like you ain't about to pop out your titty and being like squeezing out the ectoplasm. I like, bro, that's just titty milk.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
That's a normal bodily function.
And I think it was Houdini, because Houdini super hated this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Houdini had breast milk.
No,
Good for
No.
him. Oh, he had ectoplasm from the titties.
No.
Houdini, I think, had the quote that said that when I was reading about what ectoplasm smelled like, I think he said it smelled like body odor. And then he said, and of course it would, considering the holes they keep it in.
Oh, I love Houdini.
And I was like, clap, clap.
Clap, clap. Gotta give it up. He's great.
And my favorite story about the ectoplasm, since we're talking about it, is there was like a famous researcher from I don't remember where he was from. But he was researching it, and he was really sure that it was real, and he published a whole book about it being real. And the woman like regurgitated it, and it had like a face in it, and he was like, it's so real, and she can produce the faces in it using her brain. And so he published this book about it, and then a lot of people a lot of people were like, these pictures are clearly, like, they clearly are faces cut out of a magazine, because you can see the pins and the strings.
Yes.
and then Houdini was also like, I can swallow a needle and regurgitate it, and demonstrates.
Ugh.
That's so uncomfortable. It makes my stomach hurt to even imagine a needle going down into my gullet. But then again, I also have a hard time. Sometimes I eat like a tortilla chip and then it goes down vertically and I don't chew it because I don't know. I've just breathed in and swallowed and then just a vertical tortilla chip is attempting to slide down my esophagus and it's like some insane pain, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
So according to all the reports from all of those people, ectoplasm apparently smells like ozone, which I don't know how anybody was managing to make anything smell like ozone, but I read it on one thing and I said that can't be right. So I had literally tracked down a book and read it in a book, not
Ooh.
online, like not on an online source. I looked at it in a book. So the book says that yes, apparently ectoplasm smells like ozone somehow. So I guess the conclusion is that ghosts, apparently, the closest you can get to a ghost would be ozone. Even though ectoplasm is fake, the thing that ghosts are supposed to be producing apparently smells like ozone.
I feel like ozone
Mm,
makes a lot more sense.
yeah, it does, but not for the reasons given.
Yeah, not for the reasons given, but it does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you might you might actually be smelling things in your house, but I think it's important to note that if you're smelling sulfur or like rotten eggs in your house, you might have like a really serious problem that isn't demons or
Mm-hmm.
negative spirits. If you smell rotten eggs in your house, it's pretty indicative that you have a natural gas or propane leak because gas producers are required to add the chemical into your gas in order to give it a distinctive smell that smells that way because those gases don't have
An
odors by
odor.
themselves. So you should like immediately try to find whether or not you have a leak and just turn the gas off immediately
Mm-hmm.
because that's terrible.
Yep.
If you're smelling, yeah, report it. If you're smelling something burning, like smoke or burning plastic, you need to check your outlets. Because that's a good indication that you might have a short circuit or some electrical arcing problems. You should turn the power off to that outlet and contact an electrician. If you're smelling garbage, you need to check your drains because your pipes might be all gunked up and gross and need to be cleaned or replaced. Or check your water heater because that can indicate that there's a rod in there that needs to be replaced if it starts smelling that way. It's called a sacrificial rod, actually.
Whoa. It's
Oh.
like Jesus.
Yeah. And if you smell death and decay in your house, probably you have an animal that has died somewhere in your attic or crawl space or ductwork or something like that, or like near the outside of your house. And it's nothing supernatural.
Or you are living with a serial killer.
Oh yeah.
There is only a few explanations. If it's not a dead animal, it's a dead other kind of animal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a human animal.
That is incredibly unlikely. But,
But it's happened, bro.
I mean, it's happened.
John Wayne Gacy's family, they're like, what the fuck is that smell? And then, you know what? They found 33 dead bodies under his house.
But it's unlikely.
Maybe it's not your roomie, but it's your neighbor somewhere. Like, bro, you smell a dead body. That looked into.
And then you should maybe think about getting your house tested for mold if you're smelling something like mildew, because toxic mold can make you hallucinate, which can explain seeing and hearing things and smelling things that aren't really there. And also, carbon monoxide can do that. So maybe think about a carbon monoxide detector. And those are at the end of the episode, the serious stuff, the actual legitimate reasons why you would be smelling literally all of the things, or why you might be hallucinating all of the things. And last note, 1 in 15 Americans experience a condition to varying degrees from mild to severe called phantosmia, which is phantom smells.
Oh, I have.
Almost everyone will experience it at least one time. Some people experience it severely and all the time. Some people only experience it mildly and occasionally. The condition can be related to overactive odor sensing cells in your nasal cavity or a malfunction in the part of the brain that understands odor signals. The researchers are not sure what causes it yet. Research has been really extensive to find out that it does happen and that it happens frequently, but they're still trying to work out why it happens. Interestingly, I was reading the research and it said that scientists are trying to determine if maybe the phantom smells, since they are almost always bad smells, if it's because our brain is trying to warn us about something, because the bad smells are an association that we need to avoid something. So maybe our brain is trying to trigger our response that something bad is happening. So they're looking into whether or not the phantosmia can be a symptom of something like a brain tumor or a symptom of like temporal lobe seizures, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and things like that. But it can also be triggered by inflamed sinuses and respiratory infections and so on. So you might have that if you're smelling things that aren't there and none of the
Uh,
other actual explanations happen.
Bro, I think maybe I need to go get checked out.
Does it happen all the time?
It happens quite frequently.
Mm.
Mostly when I'm stressed, though. When my body has weird stress responses. I smell the back room of the restaurant, the back room / garbage of the restaurant I used to work at.
Mm.
Cat pee. I smell beer and cigarettes.
Yeah, and it's when you're stressed. So it's your body.
Could also be the explanation for the nice smells I smelled when I was in the haunted house.
Hmm.
Now, there's a different smell condition where your brain mixes up smell signals, and when you smell like a banana, you could actually like you lift the banana to your nose and you sniff it, and instead of smelling a banana smell, your brain smells garbage.
Oh, that's one of the symptoms of long COVID.
Do you have that? Is that
No,
what's
I do
happening?
not.
You're just
Mm-mm.
legitimately smelling something that's not there. Now
I just smell things that aren't there.
the Mayo Clinic says that sometimes it's good smells that come up. More frequently, it's bad smells, but sometimes people report smelling good things too. So, yeah, maybe.
All right, y'all, I'm going to the hospital.
See you next week.
But thanks everybody for listening. We are very excited to take your questions too, because we want to hear them and we want to answer them, and we are so super qualified to answer questions. So what you can do is you could visit our website, which is whywouldyouskthat.com, and go to that little contact form, throw in a question, or you can email us at whywouldyouskthatpod@gmail.com. So please send us your questions. We don't care how weird it is, how gross it is. Just don't ask any personal questions. That's our one line. Ask your weird questions. That's what we want. So thank you for listening. This is M, Karen, and Remy, and ask us some shit. Thank you. Good night.